You ever find yourself standing in the middle of some grand city square and just wonder, like, if these stones could talk, what stories would they tell? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to listen. We're going to decode the secrets hidden right there in plain sight.
Because, a city square isn't just some empty patch of pavement. No way. It's more like a public diary. It's a stage where history plays out, and it's a very deliberate statement about who a country is, what its ambitions are, and how it sees its own power.
So we're going on a little trip. We're going to visit 3 absolutely incredible cities to see how their most famous squares tell 3 completely different stories about where they came from and where they're trying to go.
Okay, first stop, Buenos Aires. Here, the main plaza isn't really about digging up ancient history. It's all about making a bold, loud, modern statement to the rest of the world. So take a look at this. On the left, you've got the Obelisco in Buenos Aires. On the right, the Washington Monument. Now that striking similarity, that is no accident. They're both these massive symbols of national pride, for sure, but the Obelisco tells a story that is uniquely Argentinian.
And the timing of this thing is everything. It was built in 1936, basically a 400th birthday present to the city. The architect, Alberto Previs, was a modernist. His whole vision was about looking forward, not back. And he plopped it down right at the crossroads of 2 of the city's most important avenues.
But check this out. It's not just a random intersection. The location itself is packed with symbolism. The Obelisco stands on the exact spot where the Argentine flag first flew over the city, all the way back in 1812. It's like a giant pin in the map, marking the nation's birth in its own capital.
Now, to really wrap your head around the scale of this ambition, you have to look at the street it's on. The Avenida 9 de Julio it's just massive. A jaw-dropping 140 meters wide in some spots. We're talking up to 16 lanes of traffic. People call it the widest avenue in the world. This wasn't just a road, it was a declaration.
So you see how it all clicks together, right? You've got this massive, sleek monument in the middle of this enormous modern avenue. This was Argentina in the 1930s basically shouting from the rooftops, "Hey world, we are here. We are modern, we are powerful, we are a global player."
All right, let's jump over to Mexico City now for a completely different kind of story. Here, the main square, the Zócalo, isn't about one single moment in time. Oh no, it's about centuries of history literally stacked one on top of the other.
The best way to think about the Zócalo is like a historical layer cake. You've got 3 distinct layers. At the very bottom, it's Aztec roots. In the middle, you have the Spanish colonial city. And right on top is the vibrant, beating political heart of modern Mexico.
I mean, long before the Spanish even showed up, this exact spot was the center of the universe for the Aztec Empire. This was the heart of their capital, the great city of Tenochtitlan. The main temples were here. This is where all the power was. So where does that name, Zócalo, come from? It's actually a pretty funny story. It literally means pedestal or base. See, back in the 19th century, they planned to build this huge monument to Mexican independence right in the middle of the square, but they only ever got around to building the base. The big statue never showed up, but the nickname Zócalo stuck for good.
So that's the real key to understanding the Zócalo, this incredible compression of time. When you're standing there, you are standing in 3 worlds at once. The Aztec world, the Spanish Empire that destroyed and replaced it, and the modern nation that was born from that very collision.
For our final stop, we're flying over to Madrid. Here, the Plaza Mayor tells a story of transformation, of how a humble, messy public market was turned into a grand and, honestly, sometimes terrifying stage for imperial power.
It started out as you might expect. Back in the medieval days, this was the Plaza del Arrabal. It was the main market just outside the old city walls. Probably chaotic, bustling, a real everyday kind of place.
But then, when King Philip II got his hands on it in the late 1500s, it became something else entirely. The square was re-engineered to be a public theater. A theater for everything, royal weddings, bullfights, but also for chilling stuff like public executions and the infamous trials of the Spanish Inquisition. The plaza's history was also literally forged in fire. It burned down 3 different times over the centuries, and each time it was rebuilt, the architecture was tweaked, refined, and reshaped, evolving into the very uniform and closed box that we see today. And that uniformity, that sameness, that is the whole point. Unlike the chaotic old market it replaced, the new Plaza Mayor's rigid rectangular design, with its hundreds of identical balconies looking down,
It created a powerful psychological effect. It was the monarchy sending a clear message through architecture. We impose order. We are in control.
So, after visiting all three of these amazing cities, what have we learned? What does a city square really tell us about the heartbeat of a place?
Well, when you lay it all out, the different stories just pop. In Buenos Aires, we saw modern ambition forging a proud national symbol. Over in Mexico City, we found layers and layers of history creating the nation's political heart. And in Madrid, a stage built for imperial control has mellowed into this incredible cultural space.
I think the biggest takeaway here is that these squares are not just dusty old monuments. They're not static. They are living, breathing stages where national life is still playing out, every day, through protests, celebrations, festivals, and just the simple act of people coming together.
So that leaves us with one last question to chew on. The next time you find yourself in the middle of a big public square, anywhere in the world, just stop for a second. Look past the tourists and the cafes and ask yourself, what hidden stories are written in the stones right under my feet?